out this morning, and I walk in this path, and I always come this same path. And I remember making my first video coming down this path, and where I was, and how I felt that day when I made that video, and how far I've come. And you know, I've been failing to give myself a lot of credit for that today. And over the last couple of days of how far I've come, and what a different person I am today. And you know, a lot of people can judge you for who they think you used to be, and you know, the reality of it is they don't even know who I am today. You know, the people, and it doesn't even fucking matter really. But I wanted to come on and highlight a few things, and maybe get some clarity, and you know, take the insanity out of the fucking stuff that goes on in today's age, or the communities, and kids growing up and starting to take drugs and going out at weekends and stuff like that. And as I got up and I started walking down this same path, the same path of when I first made my first video, I sort of realised how different I feel today, and put in perspective for me of how did I ever not live like I do today. Do you know what I mean? And how insane I was to not even know that this way of living, or not doing the things that I used to do, was even possible. You know, how insane I was at the time. You know, I thought that going out every weekend and using was completely normal. I thought that's just what you did. You know what I mean? I grew up into that way of living. Do you know? I didn't know any different. I thought that's just what you did. I thought you just worked all week from Monday to Friday, and then you went out and blitzed your fucking money on what I thought was a good thing. I thought that was my thing. That was just what I did in order for me to have fun. That's what I thought my perception on fun was to just go out and get pissed, take fucking drugs, get high, whatever you want to call it. And I did that for so long, and when I look back on it now, and I look where I am today, and I put the gap between the two people and who I was and who I am now, I can't believe the insanity that I was living at the time by thinking that was thingy. And you know, it puts a big, I want to try and make something clear to you. Like, you know, we say like to use is to die, and you know, my using personally come from a social background of using. You know, I was a weekend user, I was a social user or social addict, and I didn't use every day. And that got confusing at times, you know, especially when I looked or judged myself off other people that took drugs. I didn't take a certain type of drug, I didn't do this, I've never done that, I've never been to jail, I've never been arrested for my using, I've never fucking, all that I never done, you know, stopped me from making that change for a long time. And you know, I'm going to be honest, I could have probably carried on what I was doing. Could have. You know, just using at the weekends, using quite large amounts of drugs. But it was getting progressive, you know, and I was losing control of my using. The drugs stopped working for me. There was no social environment for me anymore. I didn't find any fun in using. But I sort of like slipped that barrier, that invisible line of not using in order to have a good time, but using in order to change the way that I feel. And me being honest by saying that I could have carried on using, I could have, you know. When I look at it, I think to myself sometimes, I had my own business. I was being a dad, not very good one at the time, but from the outside looking in, I provided for my daughter. I paid my bills. I had a car. I had a place to live. I wasn't homeless. And I used all the time. But when I come to where I am today and how I live my life today and the things that I do to find freedom, joy, peace, serenity, and all the other fancy words that a lot of people are not familiar with, I realise how much I was fucking mugging myself off all that time by using drugs in order to have a good time. And thank fuck I don't have to do that anymore. You know, and even though I had the possibility of carrying on, and maybe it might not have killed me straight away, and I got loads of years out of it, and the fun was fucking gone. There wasn't a party anymore. The party had stopped a long time ago for me. I'd wrung the fun right out of using drugs. You know, even going on holidays, I wrung the fun out of that. It didn't make me feel good. I can't remember the last time I used and I was happy or laughing. Or the last time I smoked something, I had the giggles with my friends. The last time I had a drink and, you know, had a good time. It just wasn't like that for me anymore. You know, and now sort of the shoe's on the other foot. Now I don't do it. I find my fun and I find my friends, and I'm around people without the use of drugs, and I'm belly laughing, and, you know, I'm making memories that are not just a fucking faint, distant, shitty experience that was fueled by alcohol or some substance in order to elevate the way that I feel, in order for me to connect to that situation or that surrounding or them group of people at the time. You know, I can be myself today, and it makes me wonder how I've ever lived my life doing that. Why? How could I have ever thought that that was normal to do that? And now I don't do that anymore. I can't ever see myself going back to doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the normal, because that would just be insane. But as I go back to saying, like, for me to use is to die. You know, and I don't mean like die of physical death. I mean like a mental, emotional, spiritual death toward a point, and I'm just a fucking shell of a man. You know, if I went out and used this weekend, you know, from the drugs world looking in, you know, I could go out, get smashed, couple of days on it, get up, sort my fucking shit out, go to work on Monday. But I'd be a fucking shell of a man. You know what I mean? I won't give a fuck about anyone else. I'd be a selfish cunt. I won't care about anyone else's feelings or their emotions. I won't be able to hold down a relationship. I don't find happiness and joy. I'm wrapped up in my own fucking head. And I'm just fucking half the man that I used to be. Even less than that. I'm literally just a fucking walking dead. And by the time I start to get out of that, feeling like I'm walking dead and dragging my knuckles through the week, it's about Thursday. And then I'm off out the door again, Friday. And I'm doing the same thing again. So I've just lived a week of fucking being a selfish cunt, miserable bastard, not talking to anyone, never got a smile on my face, dragging me fucking knuckles, you know, not connecting with my daughter, not building relationships, certainly not having a fucking good time and having a laugh, certainly not appreciating the fucking simplest of things that life brings to you, like going on a nice walk with my dogs, feeling the fucking wind on my face. Just the little fucking things that life brings you. If I've just spent a week not doing that, and I go back out and I use again, which is fucking very normal in today's fucking society, and I do that for years and years and years, then if I'm not living, because there's no significance to that sort of living, because it's fucking pretty fucking miserable, then what am I doing? You know, I'm not dead, but I'm not alive. So you're like in this middle bit where you're just existing in a fucking cycle of just mugging yourself off all the time. But as long as you can get to the weekend and you can do it again, you sort of convince yourself that them fucking one night or them 2 nights that you have where you're fucking completely fucking out of your mind, trying to hide away from yourself and getting out of your own skin, or feeling comfortable in your own skin for the fucking 2 days that you're using, and then dragging your fucking knuckles, being a miserable cunt, a selfish bastard, not being a very good dad, brother, sister, husband, wife, or whatever. You're just mugging yourself off, aren't you? Really. Because that's all you're living for. You're just living for that little break. And that sense of freedom that you get when you're fucking out of your mind. And see, when I set off, and before I started this video today, and I started walking down this path, you know, the same path, same place, same sort of day, same sort of time, months and months and months later, I got a fucking different sense of freedom. Completely different sense of freedom. That I don't have to do that anymore in order to feel free. And I'm certainly not fucking dying. I'm certainly not mugging myself off. And I'm certainly very fucking happy. And I can certainly find fucking joy when I look for it. And also find gratitude and appreciation for the people around me and the things that I've got in my life. Just wanted to put a bit of perspective on the fact that I didn't stop using drugs because I fucking had to. I stopped using drugs because I wanted to. And my life has got nothing but a fucking hell of a lot better since I did. You know, it's not easy. It's certainly fucking worth it. Now, if anybody finds herself in that weekend cycle and that's all they're living for, and you find yourself in a bad place, you know, share that commonality or whatever you call it, of experiencing that dark place over and over again, probably maybe every Monday morning when you're fucking dragging your ass into work. And don't feel afraid to reach out, ask for help. You know, find someone with some common ground and give yourself the best possible chance of making some sort of change. And if you do make a change in your life, you'll be surprised at the changes that you make in other people's life as well. You know, not everyone's going to like you looking after you for a bit and doing better and doing good things with yourself. But that's just the fucking world today, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, we don't live in a fucking world today where everyone wants the fucking best for each other. So, I know you have to make a few cutbacks and go down a few fucking scary streets and try some new things that you don't fucking feel comfortable with. But I tell you now, I would fucking never go back. I'd never go back to that old way of living and thinking that it's fucking normal. Hope you all have a blessed day.